This video reviews how to create a histogram from a distribution table and also how to use the ampersand operator, which accomplishes concatenation, to create some descriptive labels for our histogram classes. So remember, a distribution table is just a way of taking a look at our data and how it's distributed. So what this distribution table here does, counts how many of our values are within certain ranges. So for example, values that are at least 20 but less than 25, there's 12 of them, and that makes up 13.5% of our data set. So what I want to do next is create labels for each of these classes that will show up on the x-axis in the histogram. And the way I want to do it is I just want to say from 0 to 5 for the first one. For the second one I want to say 5 to 10. So let's leave out the from and just do 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and so on. To do that, I can type equals, and then I click on this 0. That's going to put the 0 there. But I also want it to say 2, 5. So to get the 2, I use my ampersand operator, and then in double quotes, type space 2, and then another space. So now I'm going to have 0, 2. Now type another ampersand concatenation operator and click on where the 5 is. So when Excel looks at this, it's just going to replace the B5 with the 0, the C5 with the 5, and write the space TO space in the middle. And that's exactly what we want. So here's the formula again. Since we use relative references, we can select that formula and just copy it down, and we have our class labels for the histogram. To create the histogram itself, first you can select the percentages, because that's the main data we want to show on the histogram bars. Go to the Insert tab and select a basic column chart. So that's our starting point. Now drag this over to the right. First thing we want to do is get rid of this label that says Series 1. So just click on it to select it and hit the delete button. The next thing we're going to do is, it's customary for a histogram to have no space in between the bars. So we're going to remove these gaps in between the bars. To do that, you right-click on any of the bars, go down to Format Data Series, and in the middle there's a gap width setting. Take that gap width setting and drag it down to 0%, and that gets rid of the space between the bars. Next, let's deal with our x-axis, because this is where we want to put the histogram class labels that we created. So to do that, we have to tell the histogram what range of data we want to use for these labels. So you right-click somewhere on the open area until you get this context menu, and you go down to Select Data and click on Select Data. This interface lets you pick the data that's shown in the histogram. So what I want to do, over here on the right it says horizontal axis labels. I want to use the histogram class labels that I created. So all you have to do that is click on Edit, select the range that has the labels, and then click on OK. And then click on OK again. See how now each class is labeled with its range in a descriptive fashion, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Now this is still a little bit hard to read because it's putting them horizontally. But we can format that text in the axis label to go or to be aligned however we want. To do that, you right-click on one of the axis values, it doesn't matter which one, and select Format Axis. Now if you look at the left-hand side, you have all different things you can change in the formatting. What we want to change is the alignment. So I click on Alignment, and here vertical alignment, middle centered, text direction horizontal. I want to change the text direction to rotated 270 degrees. So that looks a lot better, right? If you prefer an angle, you can also put these at an angle. All you have to do to put them at an angle is right-click, go to Format Axis, Alignment, and for text direction, choose horizontal first, but then use this custom angle setting to change it however you want. So that looks pretty good, right? I'll go with minus 60. Let's go with minus 70. Okay? But for this one, I'm just going to leave them vertical. So go back to Format Axis, Alignment, rotate 270 degrees. That looks good. The last thing we have to do with our histogram is put a title and axis, titles for the axis and titles for the entire histogram. To do that, you click somewhere on the histogram to select it. And then up here in Chart Tools, go to Layout, Axis Title, Chart Title, right here. Let's go with the chart title first. And let's put it above the chart. Figure 1, Sample Histogram. That puts the title there. And I just need to label these. Down below is my class ranges. So let's go to the axis titles for the horizontal axis. Put the title below the axis. And class ranges. You can see what you're typing up here in the formula bar. And then let's do the vertical axis. Rotated title, we'll put it like that. And these are the percentages. Drag this over this way a tiny bit. And now we have our histogram created from the distribution table.